Hello and welcome to the section on building additional behavior. In this section we will diagnose some view hierarchies, take a look at building custom table view cells, see how we can delete table view cells from our list view controller that lists all of our entries, and we'll also see how we can sort our entries based on the title. In this video we will go over diagnosing view hierarchies. We will take a look at when we should go custom for our views. So let's dive in. Right now we have our color views that are inside of our stack view, which is in another stack view, our content view, and our scroll view. So let's go ahead and run our application. And when we run the app, we can see that we have our different journal entries. We can create journal entries. None of our color views are currently working, so we'll have to resolve that. But notice, since we have all of our auto constraints, our scroll view does now work when the keyboard is up. So that's good. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can fix these color views. So let's go to our ColorView.Swift, and we will add a function called setUpBackground. And this will allow us to set up a background color for that color view, for each individual color view. So if we look at our create entry storyboard, we have these 7 color views, and we need a way to access each of these color views. So on the color view itself, we're going to change this tag attribute, and the first one we'll give the number 1, and then number 2 for the second one, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and finally number 7. So this tag will allow us to access these color views within code, so we can use a switch statement on this tag and determine which UI color view is being created within our view, and then later when we tap on the color view, we'd be able to determine which color view is being tapped based on this tag as well. So if number 1 tag in our color view is there, then we will return a dark gray color. If number 2 is returned, we'll use blue, red for number 3, brown for number 4, orange for number 5, green for number 6, and finally we will use purple for number 7. And then it's saying that our switch must be exhaustive, so we'll go back and fix that in a second. But for now, let's set up this tap gesture. So we have this setUpTap function, and we will create a tap gesture by initializing a UI tap gesture recognizer. The target will be self, and we have to give it an action, which will be this number selector, and we'll use this SelectColor function that we will create. So let's create this function SelectColor. And this function, call this delegate property that we will create. And this delegate property is going to have a select color that takes in a custom color. And for now we will make this of type UI color, and that color will be based off of the setup background. And then also when the select color is pressed, we will toggle the color, which is another function that we will create. First, let's make this switch statement exhaustive by putting our default case, and we will just return dark gray. Now this number selector has to expose this method to Objective-C, because this UI tap gesture recognizer uses Objective-C, so we just have to add objc before the function SelectColor. We also have to add the gesture to this view, so we just have add gesture tap. Now let's go ahead and create our toggle function. And when this toggle function is tapped, we want to switch whether or not this is selected. So let's create a property is selected, which will be a bool value, and it will start off as false. And we have to make this a var. And let's have another property, var is selected view. That way we can have a little dot in the center when this view is selected. So we're just start this view off with a frame of 0, and this frame takes a cgrect, so we have to do cgrect.0. We'll have one more var for that delegate property that we talked about. And this delegate property will be of type ColorViewDelegate, and it will be optional. And we will create that delegate shortly. But first, let's finish our toggle method. And we're saying isSelectedView.alpha equals isSelected question mark 0.5 colon 0.0. This is the ternary operator, which is basically saying if isSelected is true, use the 0.5, otherwise use 0 for the alpha. And that will just determine if it's going to put that dot in the center of the color view. So in the create view, we actually have to set this isSelectedView.frame. So we want this isSelectedView to live inside of the UI view. So for the X and Y position, we'll just do 10 and 10. The width, we will do width of the color view minus 20, and the frame.height minus 20. So it would be about half the size of our color view. And then we can create a radius based off of the largest side. So we will compare the isSelectedView.frame.width versus the isSelectedView.frame.height, and then divide that by 2. And then we can set the layer corner radius for isSelected. And we will set that equal to the selected radius that we just created. And then we want to set the clip to bounds equal to true. And finally, we want to set the background color to black, because the alpha will just let you see through some of the color. So it's just going to be a darker circle based off of the color behind it. So it'll just have this dark circle that makes it look like this is selected to distinguish between the other color views, because the ones that aren't selected will have that alpha of 0. Lastly, we have to add that subview to the color view that is initialized, and then we have to set up the tap gesture that we created. We can see that we have this error that it doesn't know what the ColorViewDelegate is. So we're going to create a protocol called ColorViewDelegate. We're going to make this a class protocol. And it being a class protocol allows us to make it optional. And we can also make it weak, which we're not going to talk about at the moment. And this ColorViewDelegate is going to have a function of SelectColor that takes in that UI color. And it should be CustomColor. So let's go ahead and fix that to be CustomColor. There's a couple other warnings here. Has this print entry here. Let's delete that because it's not being used. It's saying the UI scroll view needs to be a question mark instead of an exclamation mark. And now our build should succeed, and we can run the app. And if we go to our more, notice that these colors still are not showing. And that's because we are not actually accessing them inside of our storyboard. And we have to have the background to select the color or set up background. So now the colors are actually showing up. We can see this selection works. But we need to actually tell our create entry what to do with these UI colors. So we have to create an outlet to be able to access them. So we can do this IB outlet var color views, which is an array of color view. And then we want to create a var of color. That way we can tell this create entry what color is actually selected. So we'll give it a default value of dark gray. And then we can, inside of our view to load, be able to start setting some of this up. So we will say color views at the index of 0. We can toggle that so that it can be selected, because by default all of these color views are not selected. So we want to select the dark gray one, which is index 0, which will be the first one. And then we want to loop over all the color views and set that delegate property to our create entry view controller. So we're just say $0.delegate equals self. And then we have to implement that delegate method of select color. So we have to do an extension of our create entry and conform to the ColorViewDelegate. And then we have to implement that SelectColor function. And we will say self.color equals the custom color that is passed into this SelectColor custom color from the delegate method, which is in ColorView. And then we can check all the color views to see if the tag matches the actual color. But right now, the color itself does not have a number associated with it. So basically we want to see if the color has an associated value of, say, 1 through 7 that would match that tag, and the view is selected, then we want to turn the color off. But in order to do that, we have to create a new property that associates a number with a color. So we can say enum custom color of type integer, and then have cases for all of our colors. So in this case, dark gray, blue, red, brown, orange, green, purple. So now our different colors have values of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we need to use a computer property on color to switch against that custom color to assign a color property based on which custom color is selected. So if dark gray is selected for custom color, we want to return the UI color of dark gray, assign or return blue if blue is assigned to custom color, red if red is assigned to custom color, and same thing with orange, or brown first, return brown. And then if orange is selected as the custom color, we want to return a UI color of orange. If green is selected, return green. And same thing with purple. And here we don't need that default case because custom color is exhaustive because we only have those 7 custom colors. But right now we have the pattern cannot match the entry CustomColor.type. So we have to create a var of custom color that takes the type custom color. And now we have to switch some of our types that are UI color to be entry.CustomColor. But first let's check to see if the tag is not equal to the CustomColor.raw value, which will be that number 0 through 6. And now let's go ahead and fix our types. So instead of having a color of UI color, we want to have entry.CustomColor. Inside of ColorView for custom color, we will do entry.CustomColor. And then right now in our SelectColor custom color, we have this setup background. And that setup background returns a UI color. But we need to have a custom color. But we need the setup background still because background color is a UI color. So we need to create another method. And we will call this GetColor that returns a entry.CustomColor. And this will again switch on the tag. So let's go ahead and select that whole switch statement and paste it in. And these are all entries for our entry.CustomColor. So now instead of calling setup background, we can call GetColor in this SelectColor custom color. And let's run the application. And we'll see that we get this error on GetColor because we have to have the exhaustive switch statement. So let's return dark gray. And we have quite a few errors here, and that's because inside of our update method, we're trying to assign a color to the color property, but the color property is read-only. So we have to change the color to be an entry.CustomColor because that's the one that we want to update. And we don't want to update the color because the color gets its value from this entry.CustomColor. So we just have to make a few changes in the code here. And then we will also have to make a few changes inside of our entry controller. because we still have a few errors here. And we have to make some changes when we create all of these entries. Because right now, all of our entries are just using a color instead of a custom color. So we'll make those changes really quick. And it's trying to assign a property of light gray, but light gray doesn't exist in our custom color cases. We only defined dark gray. So if we go back to our entry, we can see that we only have dark gray here. And we have blue, red, brown, orange, green, and purple. So no light gray in there. So if we go back to our entry controller, we can change all of these to be our default value of dark gray. And lastly, we'll change entry 1. And then inside of our create entry, we still have a color property that's taking color, which is UI color. So let's change that to EntryCustomColor. And we can leave the parameter name as color. That way we don't have to change it elsewhere in our code. And for the entries index, we need to do custom color instead of color. And change our update entry to be an entry.customColor instead of a UI color type. And we still have a few more create entries that are using that light gray color instead of dark gray. And the last error that we have here is that create entry has no member of custom color, and that's because we have it named color. So let's just change that name to custom color. And now our build succeeds. And when we go to our create entry, it actually crashes here on the ColorViews.toggle, and that's because we never set up our outlets inside of our main storyboard. Create entry storyboard, we have to assign all these color views to our color views property that we created. So we have this outlet collection that takes in multiple color views, so we can just keep dragging this plus to each and every color view inside of our storyboard. And now our last color view. And we can run the application again. We can go to our More tab. Now the dark gray is selected by default. Now we can select each of different dots, but notice that there's 2 selected until we go back 1. So there's some kind of bug here. And the bug is that we are using a enumeration in our entry for custom color, and we starting this enumeration at 0 by default. So if we start the enumeration at 1, now these numbers will match up with our tags, because our tags start from 1 through 7, and that enumeration was from 0 through 6. So by setting that enumeration as a default value of 1 at first, it now matches that 1 through 7. And now when we select the different colors, it works.